you know the one and only Tom Jackson, Mr. Knowledgeable of all things products. Just great, great sage advice, not only about ingredients, but how to use it, how to, how to approach people. And we're getting very, very close, I'm very excited to say, to having the day-night drops and the power boost. That's the cocoa. That's going to probably by this weekend be available for you to see in your shopping carts. I know, hip hip hooray. We'll get that out to you guys. And the other two products, the Pure Nourish and the Beauty Boost, will actually probably be what we call NFR, not for resale, which means they need to stay sort of as personal use quantities. You're absolutely available to purchase them and use them. But until we complete some more additional registrations, et cetera, and Tom might go into that, they won't just show in your shopping cart, but you can search for them and see them in your shopping cart. So, hey, where there's a will, there's a way. Now, of course, I'm addressing this to ARIIX reps that were originally with Nucerity and then have been signing up new people. Right now, not to confuse everybody, but an ex-office behind the scenes, is actually sort of two warehouse structures for us. One that has all the old Nucerity peeps in it, one that has the original Australia ARIIX peeps in it. Right now, they're separate. As we keep consolidating data and programming and inventory. Very soon, those are going to merge. So ex-Nucerity peeps, you'll see some different things. Original ARIIX peeps, you'll see some different things. But the beauty will be, we'll get it all consolidated together. That way, when we communicate, everybody's hearing the same thing and seeing the same thing. So super, super excited about that. Appreciate everyone's patience as we've been doing, obviously, massive programming and IT things. So with that little introduction and disclaimer, you'll start seeing new products. And we're going to absolutely get Tom on here with you guys to do just what we're doing tonight. Hey, a new product's coming, going to be available. We want to make sure you understand it, that you grasp how you can maybe build your business with it. And without further ado, Tom Jackson, everybody.
Thanks, Melissa. Okay, you hear me okay? Thumbs up?
Yeah, you
Everybody
sound
good?
great.
Okay. All right, so just to follow on what you said, I want to let everybody know that the IT and operations groups are working very, very hard to get all this warehousing consolidated and moved over, and so that everybody sees one back office, that this is very seamless. I know they are working very, very hard to get that done as quickly as possible. Just so much excitement at the corporate office with what's going on in your market, and to see everybody and the excitement level and see what's going on with sales is just incredible. I think you've heard that message from Fred, from Riley, from Deanna, from others. And we're just all just really, really excited to see what's going on as everybody in these groups gel together. So with that being said, as Melissa mentioned, you're going to start seeing some of these Slenderiiz products now in your shopping carts. And so, we a month or two ago, maybe we went over some training for Slenderiiz for some of you. And for it was just sort of Nucerity reps in general, to kind of give you a peek into that line and the products in it. But we want to go a little bit more in depth tonight into what you're going to see coming in the next few days. And some of this is also because some of the reps from both groups have been exposed to the US drops. So the Slenderiiz and Accelerate. I know Charlene had mentioned this to me the other day, that some of the channels that you were getting product from meant that you were getting US product. So rather than the day-night drops, you were getting Slenderiiz and Accelerate. So as we go through, I might make a couple comments about how that's different, how the program's different, but more importantly, how the program is the same. So, so that you don't feel like you've come up with this learning curve and now you have to completely start over with what the Slenderiiz program is. So I think you'll find that most of this is the same, and that what you've already learned about the program and the philosophy behind Slenderiiz is exactly the same. So having said that, let's just go into this, and I want to talk tonight about the products themselves, maybe a few things about how to sell the products, and how to kind of explain to people. Let's start here. All right, hopefully you're seeing. Melissa, can you just let me know if you're seeing the first Slenderiiz slide? The Slenderiiz weight loss program. Okay, great, thumbs up, perfect. All right, so one thing that I want to explain very, very clearly right up front is that Slenderiiz is a program. It is a system, and it's been designed as a complete system because we don't believe in magic pills. We don't believe in magic drops. We don't believe that one product can take care of all of your needs. And we'll talk about really how complex weight loss is. We all gain weight for different reasons, and we have to address all these different reasons if we want to lose that weight. So I think we all recognize that obesity rates in many nations have more than tripled, quadrupled some in the last 30, 40 years. We've seen changes in our diet worldwide. The American diet, I have to apologize, has made its way around the world, and we are reaping the consequences of that. Interestingly enough, the top three, you guys are in the top three, yay! The top three obesity percentages around the world, three of our biggest markets. And this was actually interesting to me because when I was down in Australia a couple of months ago, I actually kind of noticed, looking around, at how fit and active everybody seemed to be. So I was really kind of surprised to see that Australia has such an obesity problem, along with US, UK, Mexico is right there, number 2 actually now. I think they're down there. They've leapfrogged all of these other nations. So a lot of the markets where we work in and where we are as a company are the markets where this message really needs to resonate with the people. And so this is, of course, the problem. And when we talk about, I always like to approach things this way. We talk about the problem, we talk about the solution, we talk about the value of our products, and then we have a call to action. This is something that I didn't make that up. That's actually stolen from Steve Jobs. That's the way he used to present everything: the problem, solution, the value, and the call to action. So as we kind of go through this, that's kind of how I want to structure that this evening. The problem is that a lot of people just shrug that off nowadays. Obesity and being overweight is such a common thing now that it's being normalized. And that's a very, very dangerous thing. Obesity is a life-shortening condition. And the costs, the healthcare costs alone are staggering. If you look at the amount of dollars that go into obesity-related healthcare, and we're talking about things like type 2 diabetes and other things that are directly related to obesity and overweight. This is not a cosmetic issue. This is not about not being able to fit into your favorite dress or the pair of pants you wore in 20 years ago. It's not vanity. Yes, there are people who are great and they walk around going, oh, if I could only lose 2 pounds, I'd be happy. Yes, there are those people. And it's more of a vanity thing. But for the majority of people, this being overweight and obesity, it's not a cosmetic issue. It is a health issue, very clearly. Why do we gain weight? Well, the very obvious and very wrong answer is the one that we all tend to believe at some level, which is obesity occurs when somebody consumes more calories than they burn. So calories in, calories out. That's absolutely outdated and wrong, because we'll see how much more complex and convoluted this is. Calories in, calories out sounds really good. It sounds very simple, and it sounds like you can just cut your calories and everything is right with the world. The problem is that is a very, very narrow and myopic view and is incorrect. The other problem that people have, of course, and probably many on this call even, is regain or yo-yo dieting. And the numbers show that up to 2/3 of people gain back as much weight, if not more, than they originally lost on a traditional diet. So this kind of follows that previous slide. When you cut calories, and that's what I'm talking about by dieting, it doesn't matter how you're cutting your calories. It doesn't matter if you're getting them all from cottage cheese or from grapefruit or whatever. If you are strictly cutting your calories to offset that calorie in, calorie out balance, that's what I'm talking about with diet. And when people do that, up to 2/3 of those people actually gain back more than they originally lost. So you can see the problem is exactly this. So when it comes to weight loss, to me, it's all physics. And Newton's first law of physics says that an object at rest tends to stay at rest unless acted upon. So what does that have to do with weight loss? Well, for most of us, and myself included, and I went through a fairly significant weight loss journey myself about 4 years ago now. Interestingly enough, it's about when I started with ARIIX and discovered these products. But for me, it was really that I had been sort of just lazy about it. I had just been at rest, right? There was really nothing to act on me until the pain got so bad that it was literally one day for me, enough is enough. And when we talk about things that motivate and move us, there are three ways to create change: push, pull, and pain. So push, in this case, is, hey, sweetheart, you put on some weight. I think you need to go to the gym. Get out the door, go to the gym, and how often does that really work for us? When somebody pushes us to make a change, it's very, very ineffective. Pull, in this case, would be, hey, honey, you know what? I think we ought to go to the gym together and start working out. Why don't you come with me? Well, that's usually a little more effective. And that is, it's like, okay, you're being pulled along, but at least somebody is willing to make the change with you. But the third is actually a factor for change that is the most effective and the most lasting, and that is pain. And pain, we hear that word, we think of it in very, very negative connotations, but usually pain is what causes us to change. And what I mean by that is the pain of remaining the same versus the pain of change. When that balance shifts and the pain of remaining the same outweighs the pain of change, that's when change happens. And so for me, I think of how I went to bed so tired every night, aching, and just my back hurt. I woke up in the morning and, from a horrible night's sleep, I snored so bad. My wife, wanted me to sleep somewhere else in the house. I would get breathless watching other people work out. It's like my neck would sweat on it, like on a good day, on a cool day. I mean, that's not normal, right? I was just in so much discomfort and pain, and it was literally a moment for me where I said, all right, enough is enough. I'm not enjoying life. I'm not able to keep up with my kids. I'm not doing the things I used to like to do. And so for me, that pain was finally enough to tip me over and deal with the pain of change, deal with the discomfort of change. So I like to ask people to kind of close your eyes for a moment and visualize where you would like to be. This is kind of in terms of your overall health and fitness and wellness. Visualize for a minute where you would like to be. And think about for a minute what that looks like to you. So all of you are able to do this and to think about what that looks like, whether that's a higher activity level or a higher energy level, or maybe that's a change in your physical shape. Maybe that is a change in the way you approach food. Any of those things, you're able to visualize these things. And when you talk to people about weight loss, they're doing the same thing. When you talk to people about weight loss, automatically people think of an image, of a thought that they've already had about where they would like to be. It's almost human nature that when you start talking to somebody about change, they can visualize that change. Now, they may not be able to make the change. They might not be at that level where the pain sort of pushes them into that change. But that's where you come in. That's where you can help them believe they can change. And this is the biggest part, I think, of why this program really works, and it works on a one-to-one basis. So those of you who have really sponsored people and mentored people and been their biggest cheerleader, that's your role in this, and that's where I believe you can be very, very successful in this program and sharing this program with others. When you exhibit that belief in them, when you believe they can change, you actually become the change for them. You become their lifeline. You become a little bit of that push and pull, but you also get them over that hump of pain, and you make sure that they always remember or always sort of keep in mind that what they're doing, that pain and that discomfort of what they're doing is because they were actually in greater pain. So be that change, be the cheerleader for them, be the one that really just exhibits that belief. Okay, so these are actually a little bit out of order for what I wanted to talk about, but with weight loss, it's really interesting. We're actually told when we are overweight, when we are obese, when those around us are in that trap of having gotten to a point where they're not healthy. And remember, this really is about health, not necessarily a number on a scale, a pant size, a dress size. It's about health. And I've said this before. You may have heard me talk about this. Getting healthy is the key. And one of the great side effects or benefits of getting healthy is usually losing weight and becoming and taking some of that excess weight off. But it's really ironically not the end goal for most people. Really, the end goal should be becoming more healthy, and the weight loss just happens as a side effect. But we're always sort of told it's your fault. You're weak. You can't control your appetite. You're a glutton. You're lazy. You're, if you just get into the gym, you'd be fine. It's this self-blame game, and many of us have probably been there at some point. You look at it and you say, man, I have no willpower. I have no ability to resist these foods that I know I shouldn't eat. Yeah, I know I should go. I should take a walk. I should, walk the dog. I should do something. I'm just too tired. Well, what's interesting is when you really step back and you look at the reasons again why we gain weight and the factors that need to be addressed in weight loss, you realize that it's in many cases not your fault, and it's not your weakness or not your laziness. You aren't a glutton. You haven't failed. It's that you are a victim of some very, very powerful forces in your body. So one of these that I want to talk about, this is my little friend ghrelin. Ghrelin is a hormone, and ghrelin has one job and one job only, and that job is to tell you that you are hungry. So ghrelin, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sends one single message to your brain, and that is, feed me, I am hungry. And ghrelin is a very powerful, very insistent voice. And for most of us, the ability to resist this hormonal urge 24/7 is impossible. At some point you cave. At some point we give into this hormonal craving. The only thing that actually stops ghrelin or quiets ghrelin is another hormone called leptin. Leptin is the satiety hormone. But interestingly enough, what happens when we are overweight, because leptin is produced in the fat cells, when we are overweight, we produce an overabundance of leptin. Our brain actually stops listening to it. It starts ignoring it. It's called leptin resistance. So when we're overweight, this whole balance of ghrelin and leptin is actually kind of out of whack. It's not working well. We'll come back to ghrelin in a little bit and these hormones and talk about this. But here is sort of the crux of what we're talking about. We talked about the problem. Now we're talking about the solution. I really love this slide and this visual, because this to me is the clearest thing that I've ever really seen in terms of why and how weight loss is complicated and why Slenderiiz is different than just about anything out there. So again, we talked before, you see these main points of exercise, diet, and appetite and hunger. This is really how the industry as a whole addresses weight loss. They will tell you again, cut your calories, exercise, and you'll be just fine, right? So diet and exercise, diet and exercise, diet and exercise. We hear it over and over and over, and especially from those that we consider experts in the field. Well, they have to be right? No, they're not. They're absolutely wrong. It is a completely incomplete. It is an incomplete picture when it comes to weight loss. Now, there are a lot of other products and companies that will address this or try to keep that diet and exercise going a little bit longer so that you don't yo-yo, you don't regain, you don't rebound, but you stay on a lower calorie diet longer. And they do that by giving you an appetite suppressant. So, instead of just getting so fed up with the program and so hungry and hangry, 2 weeks later, this appetite suppressant keeps you going for 4 weeks, right? So it's kind of postponing the inevitable in a lot of cases, but it's those 3 points that a lot of people say, okay, we're gonna keep you on this diet as long as possible, hoping that you get enough results that you're happy. Well, they're completely ignoring other factors that play into weight loss. And so all of these other things, especially things like hormone balance that we talked about just a minute ago with ghrelin and leptin, that has to be controlled, or your long-term chances of success are nil. Carb cravings have to be taken care of. You have to be able to incorporate good sleep habits and patterns and reduce your stress. And again, that goes to another hormone called cortisol. Cortisol has one primary task in the body, and that is to create visceral fat for energy storage. And cortisol goes up when we are stressed. You know this actually from the ARIIX product and from some of the adaptogens that are designed to lower stress and lower cortisol. So I think a lot of you have heard this story before. We have some of the same products in the MOA product that are designed to lower stress and cortisol. So this is a message that goes beyond Slenderiiz here, actually, into some of the other products in the line. Insulin resistance, we have to get our blood sugar under control. We have to have a low glycemic diet. And so that's why you'll see in the Slenderiiz program and in the program booklet itself, you'll see an approved foods list that is geared very, very closely to a low glycemic diet. And this was something that was developed in conjunction with Dr. Ray Strand, who has written several books related to low glycemic diets and why your blood sugar levels and keeping your insulin resistance at bay is so important. Things like the health of your gut bacteria, which comes in with the Pure Nourish and the probiotics from that. Controlling your metabolism and oxidative stress, cellular nutrition, all of these things have to be addressed. And this, again, is why I believe the Slenderiiz program is so different. Okay, so let's get into the drops themselves. I said before, there's no such thing as a magic product. There's no magic drop. So what are these products then? I have sometimes considered these sort of willpower in a bottle, and that's kind of how I think about this. So let's go into each one of these, and I think as we talk about some of these benefits, you'll see how these go back to this slide here and address some of these different things, and we'll kind of point this out. But again, these drops are a key part of the program because they do provide help in some of these areas. They are not, if you use them on their own, you're going to see some benefit, but again, some of these other things are missing. So the drops without proper diet, meaning a low glycemic, healthy diet that's going to keep your insulin levels balanced, that's going to keep those carb cravings away, is still incomplete. So let's go into the day drops. At the heart of the day drops, and the reason they taste the way they taste, for anybody who is not wild about this, is this exclusive proprietary cocoa bean extract that we have. There's some really, really cool studies related to dark chocolate and these very high polyphenol cocoa bean extracts. And that is that their effect on appetite and satiety is amazing. There was a very large study done in Turkey, which basically gave people a dark chocolate cocoa extract, and it had a control group that didn't. And then they basically let people eat as much as they wanted, and they followed them. I think it was about a 3-week thing, but the difference in the group that preceded their meals with taking a cocoa bean extract versus the control group was actually just astounding, the difference in the amount of food that they ate. And it was a very, very controlled study. And it was just amazing to see the effect that this extract had on appetite and satiety, which is different. And the reason, and we'll go back to the original slides that we talked about a few minutes ago, this had a direct impact on the hormone ghrelin. It actually suppressed the hormone ghrelin, which, if you remember, is the one telling you that you're hungry. So this is different than a lot of appetite suppressants. If some of you have had appetite suppressants that make you queasy, make you sick to your stomach, and just feel like you don't want to eat, that's what a lot of appetite suppressants out in the market are. They're designed to make you queasy and uneasy and lose your appetite that way. This is completely different. This is actually happening at the hormonal level. It is suppressing and reducing the ghrelin signals in your brain. And this, again, there are a lot of studies behind this on how this dark chocolate, this cocoa bean extract, affects hunger and satiety and appetite. As well as this, we've got some other things in here, a guarana extract, green tea, that are both shown to reduce hunger pains. And so this is very much a pre-meal way to kind of get that appetite and hunger and cravings under control. There are also some also amazing ingredients like a white kidney bean extract, which helps slow the absorption of carbs. It is not at levels where it is a carb blocker. There are some white kidney bean extracts on the market that are high dose, that are basically designed to completely block any carbs that you're taking into your diet. Those do have a fairly negative effect on your GI tract, and cause some other problems, some very unwanted problems. So we have it in there at a level where it just helps slow the absorption of carbs, which gives your insulin levels a chance to catch up, so that you don't have the quick spike and the quick drop. You get more of a level increase in your blood sugar levels from the absorption of those carbohydrates, and it gives your insulin a chance to catch up, so that your insulin isn't spiking and then dropping and giving you more carb cravings. That's when you get the carb cravings, is when you get a spike in your insulin, and then the glucose goes away, your insulin drops actually below the baseline, and it basically signals your body to increase its carb intake. That's where you get the carb cravings, and that's where you get that crash a couple hours after eating sugar. And so this slows that cycle, kind of spreads it out over time, evens it out, and helps maintain that more normal blood glucose level. Also, just some amazing herbs in here as well that provide some antioxidants to provide against oxidative stress. Again, at the cellular level, this needs to be working. Sometimes our diets are so bad that regardless of what we're taking in, we're starving our cells at the cellular level because the nutrients just aren't getting there. So this is, you can see how this hits several of those points on that sort of that target or that wheel that we showed a few slides ago. It's addressing carb cravings, it's addressing blood glucose levels, it's addressing cellular nutrition, it's addressing satiety and hormone control. So this is very much a multifunctional product that is designed before your, 3 times a day before your main meals, to really kind of kickstart your body, keep that, that metabolism gets going. There is a little bit of caffeine in here from the green tea to just bump up your metabolism a little bit. It's not going to get you wired, but it's just enough to kind of increase and rev up that metabolism just a little bit to help burn the calories that you are going to take in. So that is the day drop, sort of in a nutshell. The night drops are really, again, to address stress levels and cortisol levels. So we have some really great adaptogens in here, holy basil, astragalus, cordyceps, that help regulate stress. And again, I don't think anybody on this call is new to the concept of adaptogens and know how amazing they are. But when you regulate stress and you increase and promote feelings of calm and restfulness, then all that does is lead to a better night's sleep. Now, we're not allowed to actually make sleep claims typically for dietary supplements unless they are sedative products, which this is really not. Although I'll tell you what, this is an amazing calming product, and we actually have a lot of people who just take this even after they've stopped taking it. We've had a lot of people say, "Can I just buy this on its own and just keep taking this one?" Because this is an amazing calming, soothing product. So the theanine, which if you're familiar with this ingredient from the Rejuvenex, kind of mellows you out, kind of chills you out. The glutamine, which actually helps muscle and cellular recovery. So it kind of helps your body get into that recovery mode for sleep. And I really can't overstate the importance of good sleep in relation to weight loss. I guarantee that if you are trying to lose weight and you're not getting enough sleep, you are not seeing the results that you want. Sleep is so important. We talk about this with beauty. We talk about this with overall health, and we talk about this with detox. All of these things, your body really needs this period to be able to recharge itself and to really encourage all of these metabolic processes that happen while we sleep. And so if you are stressed, if you are not sleeping right, I guarantee your adrenal glands are overworked, they're stressed, your cortisol levels are probably through the roof, your other, like I said, your adrenal levels are all out of whack. And it's one of the hardest things out there to lose weight without sleeping properly. So again, the night drops, they do help increase the relaxation. They aid, we've got the glutamine and the other herbs in there to aid in digestion. This is something you take typically about 2 hours before sleep. For some people though, a couple hours before sleep means you're only about an hour or two after your last meal. So this does have some ingredients in there to just kind of aid in that last bit of digestion. Get your GI tract kind of calmed down before the evening, so it's not still working on your last meal. Helps with the muscle and cellular repair with the glutamine in there. But the real kicker here is its ability to lower cortisol levels. And so these two. So here's this again is the heart of the Slenderiiz program. Now, how does this differ from the drops if you've been using the day drops? sorry, the US drops, the Slenderiiz and Accelerate. What we did when we developed this, let me back up a little bit. When we developed the original drops, they were based on some homeopathic principles, some naturopathic principles, and also some concepts of making sure that you have proper amounts of some of the energy vitamins, the B vitamins, especially B12. Because of the restrictions around the world in homeopathic medicines and in other, very large dose B12 products, this was something that was just not able to carry into a lot of our international markets. So we really backed up and we said, okay, how can we achieve the same thing? How can we achieve the same goal? How can we address all of these different things? Hormonal balancing, metabolism, all of these other things. And so the US drops, the Slenderiiz and Accelerate, are very much, I could go back to that original target and talk about how Slenderiiz and Accelerate both hit a lot of those same points. It's really for us just a different way to skin the same cat. And so it was the same approach. We took a look back, we looked at what ingredients are actually allowed globally in a lot of our other big markets, and said, okay, how, what can we find to do the same thing that has the same benefit, that has the same effect, and put those together in a couple formulas that do work internationally. So it took a long time actually to do that. I think we worked on this for well over a year, even before we really got to playing around with the flavor and the taste, in making sure that we had products that had the same effect. We'll go a little bit into some of the user studies that we did on these products in just a few slides to kind of show the benefit. But we really did work very, very hard on these drops to make sure that we were truly addressing all of the factors that we talked about before. Just talking about some of the other products. Now, Pure Nourish, Melissa mentioned that the Pure Nourish base and the Beauty Boost will be NFR in your market for a while. The reason is because of the levels of some of the ingredients. These actually fall into the category of complementary medicines and fall under the purview of TGA. So if you're familiar with the TGA restrictions and requirements, you know that it is a very long approval process. It means getting our current manufacturer up to TGA standards and getting them audited by TGA, which is something that takes some time. And so because of that, the registration process is going to be a fairly lengthy one for these. We're going to keep this NFR until those products are approved by TGA. The Power Boost actually falls under a sports food category, which allows us to bypass the TGA. It's really just the food standards, the ANSFA group that has purview over that. And so that's a much easier entry and a much easier regulatory hurdle to clear. So that's why the Power Boost will be truly on the ground product for you much sooner. But we are working on all of these. We will get all of these OTG so that you can resell any of these just as quickly as possible, but these will take a little bit longer. But Pure Nourish, again, fits into this. If you remember, we talked about gut health. We talked about the importance of low glycemic snacks. Snacking for a lot of us is where we slip and fall. It's easier in a lot of cases when you're on a weight loss program to plan your meals out and do really well for your main meals, and then in between, that's where we stumble. So Pure Nourish is just, to me, one of the best products in the line because it gives you a quick, easy, convenient, healthy snack. Again, it's low glycemic, really good plant-based proteins, probiotics, prebiotics. This is a very complete product. Now, it is not a meal replacement per se. In fact, we actually formulated it not to be a meal replacement, specifically because we didn't want to have to add all the empty fats that you typically need to get the right caloric levels and the right ratios in a meal replacement to meet the regulations. We didn't want to just have to add fat and carbs to this to meet all the regulatory numbers. We wanted to make this as a base. This is a starting point, so then you can add whatever you want into this product. And though people will add anything from, you know, peanut butter to spinach, you know, chia seeds, green, you know, other greens, fruits, whatever yogurt. I've seen people add so many different things to these and get really creative with this, just using the Pure Nourish as a base, but then getting your calorie level and your nutrient level up by just adding whatever appeals to you. So this is a really good snack on its own, just in between, very, very healthy, or as a starting point for a meal, for a quick meal, if that's your choice. And something just, you know, it gives you a chance to fill up on something healthy. The other boost, before I go into some of the other products, the other boosts, again, the Power Boost, for some reason I don't have a slide on that one, but the Power Boost is great as some added BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, which are very, very good for muscle health and for muscle recovery for, you know, athletes, or for, you know, when you are working out. Getting those BCAAs into your diet is really good. That's the leucine, isoleucine, and valine. And those are essential amino acids and critical for muscle recovery and muscle health. And a lot of times when you are reducing your calorie level, you end up reducing protein at the same time. And so this product and the Power Boost together helps you kind of maintain that protein level, maintain your muscle mass, make sure that you're not sort of eating away at that muscle, which is the last thing you want to do. You want to keep your lean muscle, because that lean muscle burns fat quicker than anything else. And so you want to keep those levels up. And then the Beauty Boost, which is the other boost in the line, is just really good because a lot of times for a lot of people, when they're changing their diet, specifically making changes to their diet, that affects things like skin and hair and nails, and it's kind of hard to maintain that. Now, I understand that a lot of people care about how their hair looks. I stopped caring a long time ago, but it is kind of a nice product to just kind of maintain the health of your collagen and your keratin and these other you know, things to make sure you're keeping healthy hair and skin and nails. Kind of keep the beauty up while you're becoming more beautiful, right? And so it's kind of a fun little product to add to the system, just to keep up your overall health during weight loss. Couple other products that I just want to talk about and just want to kind of tie in that they're outside of the Slenderiiz line, and so we sometimes don't think about how they all work together. But again, if you think back to that target and all those different factors that play into weight loss, cellular nutrition is a big one. And the other thing too is that inflammation is a big one. And the optimals are designed first and foremost for optimal cellular nutrition and to fuel all of those metabolic functions that happen in our cells every minute of every day, and to make sure that you have the nutrients that your body needs at the cellular level. That is very, very important to make sure that you are keeping your nutrient levels up, especially if you do cut calories. Some people cut, you know, fairly drastically during weight loss. So you want to make sure that those levels are maintained and that you're not compromising your health. The other thing too is that a lot of the key vitamins, minerals, and cofactors in the optimals help control inflammation. And again, inflammation is something that can slow weight loss significantly if you have that chronic inflammation in your body. And so this is just part of the insurance policy that, you know, I think everybody should be taking, but at the same time also just a real key sort of a booster for making sure that weight loss is as accelerated as possible. Omega Q, omega-3 fatty acids have been shown in so many studies to be beneficial for helping control blood glucose levels and insulin sensitivity, and again, controlling cellular inflammation. So really good product to add as well, especially if you're not getting enough fatty acids in your diet. And just one thing to note, actually, if you are on a weight loss program and you're feeling a little bit hungry, you're feeling like you're just not getting the calories you need. And what's interesting about this, kind of as an aside, we don't really believe in counting calories. Now, there is a target caloric intake in the booklet when you get into the Slenderiiz program of 1,250. That is a guideline. That is actually sort of something that teaches you what a healthy amount of calories from healthy foods looks like. It's actually really surprising when you haven't been eating the right kinds of foods, when you haven't been eating more natural foods and a lot of vegetables and fruits and healthy meats, and that if you've been eating a lot of processed food, for example, a lot of people don't know what 1,000 calories or 1,500 calories or 2,000 calories looks like on their plate. And so what's interesting is people start out counting calories, usually the first week or maybe the first 2 weeks on this program. And that's actually really good. We actually love to see that, because people start learning what a healthy amount of calories looks like. You look at your piece of chicken and your vegetables and your grains and things like that, and you start to learn by looking at your plate. You start to learn what that calorie load looks like when you're eating a low glycemic system and you're eating from that approved foods list. And then most people, after a week or two of doing that, have kind of acclimated to that, and they don't count anymore. Because they know now what that food looks like. They know what it feels like. They know how full they feel after eating that. And then we start hearing things like, you know what, I can't eat all 1,250, or I can't eat all 1,500 calories. When that happens, one of the things we recommend is to add a little bit of fat in, because fat does provide, now healthy fat, it's got to be healthy fat. So there are some very healthy fats out there. And omega-3 fatty acids, coconut oil, for example, is one of the best out there to provide just that little bit of boost of calories if you need it to get up to those levels in a healthy way. Fat, by the way, is not your enemy. If there's an enemy out there, it's called sugar. So remember that. Sugar and carbs is much more the enemy than fat. Fat's gotten a bad name and a bad rap over the years. Healthy fats actually are very, very beneficial for us, and especially beneficial for the brain and the nervous system. Magna-Cal D is another great product, and especially when taken at night. This, again, the magnesium in here helps relaxation, helps you de-stress. I know people who use it because it helps with restless leg syndrome. I mean, it's a great add-on during a weight loss and a change in your diet, especially if you're cutting down on some of the foods and changing your diet. This makes sure that you've got your bone health and your muscle health kind of taken care of. And then the last two that I would bring up, obviously Restorix. A lot of the toxins in your body are stored in the fat cells. And so as those fat cells start to release their contents, a lot of those contents are toxins. And so you're actually flooding your body with a lot of those toxins. And of course, the zeolite and the other detox ingredients in Restorix help flush those from your body by attracting those and binding those and flushing through. And so this is actually something we see a lot of people who tend to sort of plateau from time to time on weight loss, and usually a good sort of mini detox, a return to Restorix is something that helps them kind of bust through that plateau. And then Rejuvenex, a lot of times when we cut calories, especially if you're cutting out things like soda, things like that out of your diet, which I highly recommend. You need a little bit of an energy kick from time to time, and Rejuvenex is just a nice healthy way to help you rev up your metabolism, kind of help burn some of those calories, but also give you the energy to keep going. It's interesting that for most people, one of the triggers for snacking is low energy or tiredness. And so if your energy levels are up, if you're not tired, that's a help, because a lot of people, it's kind of a connection for a lot of people. When they're tired, they tend to snack. And it's amazing. Food is so it's so just wired into our brains, the way we eat and the triggers for our cravings and all of these things. It's really kind of fascinating when you get into it. When we launched the day and night drops, this was actually a study that we did in 4 markets. We did this in Taiwan, in US, in Mexico, and Europe. And this was a user, and I can't remember actually how many subjects we had. I wish. It was a very, very large group. We followed them through for 28 days, and then we actually had a second group who wanted to continue another 28 days, and we followed them through. But your 28-day average weight loss, 12.7 pounds, 5.8 kilos, slightly higher for the men because we just tend to lose weight easier. I'd apologize for that, but I'm really not sorry. We just tend to take off the weight a little bit easier, and that's just tough for you women. I'm sorry. But weight loss for the men was a little bit higher. The average centimeters lost in measurements, again, 27.6 centimeters. This one was actually slightly higher for the women. It's really interesting to note, we actually had a lot of women in the study who said, I'm not seeing the weight loss numbers I want. But then they'd go on to tell us, oh yeah, I'm fitting into clothes I haven't fit into for 3 years. And so it's kind of a good reminder that not to get hung up on the scale, or for those prospects that you have starting this program, remind them, don't get hung up on the scale. In fact, a lot of people don't like to weigh themselves very often because our weight does fluctuate from day to day. But those inches lost or those centimeters lost in some cases is far more important and far more rewarding for a lot of people. That's when you start feeling the difference rather than just seeing it on the scale. And so this was a very definitive user study for us. And ever since then, we've really seen just so many testimonials, and I've heard so many anecdotal stories. It just shows me the power of this system. This kind of is shown as what I sort of consider the essential pack. I think if you were to really get somebody on what is the program, what's the heart of the program, I personally would put them on the drops, following the system in the booklet, adding the Pure Nourish so that they had so that they don't have an excuse to grab an unhealthy snack or a fatty snack. And then Rejuvenex. I think if I had to pick one thing that they added in, I would probably pick in the Rejuvenex, just to make sure that those energy levels are staying up, that they're staying positive, that they're not giving into those triggers that, like I mentioned, a lot of people have when they're tired, when they're low on energy. And so this is kind of what I would, if you were going to get somebody on just the essentials for weight loss, this is kind of what I would recommend. We have a couple minutes left, so I don't know, Melissa, if you want to cover any questions or if there's anything else I didn't address. I'm going to actually kind of stop sharing this. I hope that was all helpful. I hope that was kind of some additional insight into what you're getting into and what you're going to have available to you. So I would just again stress that weight loss is complicated. There is no magic bullet. It is uncomfortable for a lot of people. But yeah, again, we talk about that push and pull and pain. It's for a lot of people who are ready to go into a program like this, they've already hit that point where the pain of staying where they are is just not acceptable to them. And so, you get them over that hump, you keep them going. Like I said, you are their cheerleader, you are their change. And when they start, and then once they start seeing the results on their own, it just takes off from there. And then you can just truly just sit back and cheer on their results. And it's just amazing the lifestyle change that will lead to. I mentioned that my weight loss journey was kind of about 4 years ago. I've managed to keep pretty much the same weight for 4 years and get in better and better shape. And the health benefits are just amazing. I feel 10 years younger than I did then, and maybe even 20 years younger. I'm 87, so hopefully I look 10 years younger than that. But no, in all seriousness, it is life-changing. And where it becomes life-changing is when it is lasting. It's very, very depressing and very discouraging to go through the pain and the discomfort of weight loss only to go back to where you were several months later and to get back on that yo-yo and get the regain and have to start all over. And people who have done this over and over and over, they really are discouraged about weight loss. So if you can really truly help them understand how different the system is and get them to take a chance on it, and see those results and see what this can do for them, I guarantee you're going to get some tears from people as they change their lives. And it really is, I think, one of the most amazing products and one of the most amazing brands that we have because of that ability to change lives and to see results and for people to transform. Transformation is just a powerful thing. And so, if there's anything that I can do to help, if there's anything I can do to help train, any additional product information, ingredient information, numbers or studies or anything else that I can provide, please let me know, because I want this to be a success for you and for your prospects and for your customers. This is, like I said, can be such an amazing positive experience. And so anything I can do to help you or to help them, please reach out to me and let me know. And I'll see what I can do to help out. So with that, I'm going to kind of turn it back to Melissa, and I think I need to unmute her, don't I? Let's see.
Awesome. Did that work?
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
So
well, Tom, I love listening to you talk about products. Great